What's up guys, it's Meg and welcome back to Meg After Dark. Today we're talking about the latest episode of The Walking Dead, Season 7, Episode 6, called Swear. It was all about Heath and Tara, but mostly about Tara. What did you guys think of the episode? I liked it. I loved that we got a peek into the group Oceanside that we never got in the comics. There's really no comic spoilers to tell about Oceanside because we've only seen it very briefly in I think only one issue, maybe two, but I think it was only in one issue have we ever even heard of the group Oceanside. So I loved that the show has kind of put this group into perspective for us, and pretty much, you know, they were gonna kill Tara. So our group is not welcome back, but it'll be really interesting to see after the war whether or not our group goes back to Oceanside and tries to convince them, yada yada. I don't want to give any really spoilers there, but I love this kind of little sneak peek into it while also developing Tara and Heath more. So at the beginning of the episode we see Tara and Heath, well, not right at the beginning, but we have this conversation with them where Heath is basically like, I get it now, if it's you or someone else, you pick you. Basically every man for himself, there's no we anymore, and that's kind of how he's been feeling after they killed all the saviors at the satellite station. Now throughout this episode we get flashbacks. So we go from the current time with Tara alone, washed ashore, meeting this new group, and then we get flashbacks to kind of what led up to her washing up ashore on the beach there. And inevitably it comes down to Tara getting overwhelmed with walkers, screaming for Heath, and Heath pretty much, I mean, he's surrounded by walkers, but pretty much taken off. And it gives the impression in that moment that he's kind of like, well, if it's you or me, it's gonna be me. I'm gonna pick me, I'm gonna survive. And that's kind of what they want you to think, the writers, you know, in that moment in time. And then as the episode progresses, we find out that Heath did not really leave Tara, and I almost felt bad for questioning his motives the entire time, you know. I was like, what the hell, Heath? Like, he doesn't seem like that kind of guy. And then at the very end, you know, we realize that that's not what happened, that he did try and save her. She went over anyways, and you know, now he's gone, and it makes you feel bad for questioning him. But backing up a little bit, we meet this group at Oceanside made up of primarily women and young women, and Tara is captured there, and they give her a chance. They say, you can come and stay with us, that way we won't have to kill you. We learn this backstory as Tara's trying to escape. She's realized their real motive is, once they find out that Tara's group messed with Negan, they want nothing to do with her. There's no option anymore to stay. Nothing. They're gonna take her out and kill her because they don't want to risk Negan finding them again. I'm sure I don't need to explain that anymore. You guys all understood that from the episode. But I loved hearing, because so far we haven't really, you know, we kind of get how Negan rules, and you know, the measures that he will take when you disobey him, Abe, Glenn, you know, but we haven't really seen anything other than that from him. And now, and Tara at this point in time doesn't know, but for us as an audience, we get to see, wow, he is a really bad dude. I mean, to try and get these women under his thumb by killing, you know, he didn't like, they attacked him, tried to fight back, and his punishment was to kill every man and every boy over 10 years old. For those of you who have children, you know that they are still very much children, even when they're 12, even when they're 11. So it kind of gives you this like horrific insight into the lengths that Negan will go to maintain his control. And it's a very scary when you learn that, he executed all of the men, because there's quite a few women there, so you know that it was probably a pretty large community to begin with. Moving on from that kind of just tells us, you know, yikes. When Tara eventually finds out that Negan and the Saviors are the ones that did this to the Oceanside community, I think she's in shock, you know, because she's like, wait, no, we took care of that. And then it's kind of like an oh shit moment. I have to get back home now because my people could really be in danger. We see Cindy, we meet Cindy. I really like this character. I'm really hoping that Oceanside plays a big part in the television show you know, a season down the road or after the war. So it'll be a while, I think, before we ever see them again. But I would really like Cindy to be like a main character when that community comes back into play. And I'm hoping that that community has a much bigger role in the television show than it does in the comics. Have to give a little shout out to Tara's Glenn phrase in the beginning. I loved that moment where she said to Heath, rule number 1 of scavenging is there's nothing left in this world that isn't hidden. Oh man, that made me really sad, but I loved it. It kind of showed that friendship that Glenn and Tara had developed ever since the prison, and it just made the loss of Glenn like even stronger, you know, like you just felt it even more. But I love that we're still seeing pieces of Glenn in the television show even though he's gone. It makes me sad, but it makes me happy at the same time that we still get reminded of him. I can't remember what the little girl's name is at the beginning of the episode, but if you really listen to the conversation that she's having with Cindy, and Cindy's trying to show, this is a little girl. I mean, she's got to be like, what, 9, 10 maybe less than that. She seemed pretty young. And she's out there getting really excited about killing walkers. And we see Cindy in the background going, look at this bear, look at this teddy bear. I had the same exact one when I was a kid. Oh, you'll love it, we'll clean her up. And she's trying to get this little girl to be a kid again, to be her actual age. But she is kind of a victim of the apocalypse, whereas she's grown up, probably, you know, really come to, like, I mean, this is probably all she's known, you know, for the last, how long has it been now, 2 years in the apocalypse. And she's kind of really come into her own, and now she's learning how to kill walkers, and she's kind of loving the life that she's leading, I guess, if that makes any sense. Like, she seems to enjoy killing, and that's a very scary thing among children in the apocalypse when they like it. And for a moment there, I was kind of like picturing Judith because all Judith will ever know is the apocalypse. She won't ever know what the world was like before. And so you kind of have to wonder if she survives into this same age as this little girl, like, how will she be? She won't ever know a childhood that's not terrifying, you know? So I just love that. I loved seeing Cindy try to thrust a toy on this little girl, and the girl wants nothing to do with it. She's not a kid, you know? I really enjoyed that part. Okay, my one complaint about this episode. So, one complaint. I usually don't complain a lot about The Walking Dead. I enjoy these bottle episodes, if that's what you want to call them. I don't really ever hate any episode, but I was going into this, I was a little bit skeptical because Tara and Heath are not really my favorite characters. I did really enjoy the episode though. You know, I ended up really liking it. But my one issue is we see Heath gone, so Tara makes it back to where they had parked the RV. We see that Heath has left, which is fine, totally fine. You can tell that he kind of peeled out pretty quick there in the RV. He was probably overwhelmed with walkers, had to get out of there. We see this key card, PPP, have no fucking clue what that means. Maybe when they were out on their run before, he picked it up for some reason, and I feel like Tara recognizes the card. I really do. When she looks at it, she doesn't look confused. It's kind of seems like she knows that it belonged to Heath. But we have no idea what PPP stands for. And we have no idea where Heath went. And it was kind of assumed that he went either looking for her or went back to Alexandria. Well, we see Tara walking back to Alexandria. She's got the Dr. Bobblehead. She's excited to get back. We see her kind of strolling up to the gates, and she's like happy, you know, and excited to be back. She's walked the entire way. And then, you know, she finds out that Denise has died. They make no mention to her. Like, nobody actually says anything, which, you know, eventually, like in parts that we don't see, someone has told her how Denise died. Someone has told her that Glenn has died and Abe has died. But I really I wasn't happy that we didn't hear anyone actually say, this is how Denise died, or this is how Glenn died, or Abe died, or really see her reaction to that. We knew she would already be very upset, brokenhearted that Denise was dead, but then to also find out that Glenn and Abe had died, it would have been nice to see that. My dog is dreaming right now, in case you hear that. It would have been nice to see that. But what I really did not like seriously, was there was no mention when she got back to Alexandria of where Heath was. She didn't say, oh, Heath didn't come back. Oh, Heath didn't make it back. Nobody asked her where Heath was. And I get that it's a television show and they can only show us so much. But for the love of God. Really, Sammy? Stop it. He's starting to get really loud. There was no mention at all of where Heath was, and it was a little bit frustrating. And I know that they were trying to play on Tara's sadness and Rosita's grief, and they wanted us to end on that note of Rosita was saying, like, tell me where there are guns, I will do anything, and Tara protecting the Oceanside community, which is what she was doing. Even in Tara's own grief, she still protected the Oceanside community. Like, even knowing that, okay, well, we could go and take all of their guns and attack them, and that would seriously help us fight Negan, and I could get revenge for him commanding his saviors, or you know, to kill Denise, or for Dwight, you know, get revenge on Dwight for killing Denise, whatever. Even in her grief, she chose to be the better person and listen to Cindy's advice, which I loved that ending, and I feel like that's what the show wanted to focus on, is that kind of ending. But it really bothered me that nobody said anything about where Heath was. And now I kind of feel like Heath is just out there somewhere and we may never know. And I guess in the comments in my last video, I don't follow a lot of television shows, but I guess Heath, the character who plays Heath, or not the character, the actor who plays Heath, which I can't think of his name all of a sudden, has a role on another television show full time. And some people were saying that means they've written him off of The Walking Dead, or no, that's not what that means. He'll still come back, but it'll be really far down the road. Okay, fine. If really either one of those, it's like fine, whatever. But if he has truly been written off the show and like we will never see him again, kind of like Morales, like that's a bullshit way to write somebody off the show. So I kind of think that's not, I feel like the writers wouldn't do that. Like, we need some type of closure. Like, did he die? Like, he's not just driving off into the distance, you know what I mean? And for those of you who are comparing it to Morales, that's different. Morales made a choice to leave the group, and him and his family left, and that was all the closure we needed. Do you know, at least that's what I felt like, is he made a choice to leave, whatever, we know he's gone. For Heath, we don't know what he was doing. Was he trying to get back to Alexandria? Was he taken? Was he attacked by the saviors? Did some of the Oceanside people attack? Do you know what I mean? Like, there's just this big question, like, what the fuck? Where did he go? And I feel like they couldn't possibly write him off the show that way and like have us just never see him again. So I feel like he's coming back, hopefully, even if it's not this season, next season, you know. But I just really didn't like that they didn't make any mention of him whatsoever when she got back to Alexandria. So I'm hoping that somebody will talk about Heath at some point in the last, well, we have 2 episodes left. Okay, I'm gonna cut this review there. Enjoyed the episode. Wasn't one of my favorites, but really liked seeing Tara. That her comic relief that she adds to the show is just one of a kind. I really enjoy her awkwardness, but she's still really funny, and I'm really excited to see the Oceanside community as well. Let me know what your favorite part of the episode was in the comments, and I will see you guys next time. I hope you guys have a great day.